The federal government is set to reintroduce its flagship housing policy to Parliament today, despite not having the numbers to pass it. The $10 billion Housing Future Fund failed to pass the Senate after a standoff with the Greens in June, paving the way for a double dissolution election trigger if the bill fails to pass again today. Labour has made some concessions to the legislation, but the Greens and Coalition say they don't go far enough. The Shadow Housing Minister, Michael Sukkar, has reaffirmed the Coalition will not support the government's proposed fund.
Here, you've got not $1 guaranteed by the government because, in essence, they're requiring on a return on the stock market that exceeds the interest costs. And for that reason, we don't support it. We never have. And the government to date has been unable to convince the Senate of the worthiness of this fund. The Greens did push them into putting some additional direct money through the states, but we have not seen any identified projects. We don't know where those additional houses will be. We've seen since the election, first home buyers are down, rents are up, new home dwelling approvals are down, new home building is down. On every single measure, this government is hopelessly failing on housing policy. They really should go back to the drawing board and come up with a plan.
The Housing Australia Future Fund is designed to support 30,000 new social and affordable homes across the country. But the Greens say renters have been left unprotected, and they're seeking reforms to the bill that would strengthen renters' rights, including freezing rent increases for 2 years. Housing Minister Julie Collins says setbacks to implementing the fund means fewer homes are being built for Australians.
Look, we always have constructive conversations with people across the Parliament. We want to get on with more homes. What we've seen is the Liberals, the Nationals and the Greens block more homes for Australians that need them most. What I'd like to see is some of the Liberals and the Nationals and indeed the Greens talk to some of the people that I've been talking to in the last week who are actually going to benefit from these homes, talking to people who've been in a new home for just a week or two and what it has meant and how it's changed their lives. When you talk about the 30,000 homes that this fund will build in the first 5 years, 4,000 of those are set aside for women and children fleeing family violence and indeed for older women over 55 who are at risk of homelessness. We're talking about 200 million of the fund going towards remote Indigenous housing repairs, 100 million of it towards transitional housing for emergencies for women and children fleeing family violence, another 30 million for defence personnel, ex-defence personnel who are at risk of homelessness. That is what this bill will do. It will change people's lives. So I say to the Liberals, the Nationals and the Greens, we want to build more homes. You're blocking more homes. You need to get on board and you need to support this bill.
Independent Senator David Pocock is urging his crossbench colleagues to back the government's signature housing policy, even as he concedes it's not perfect. He says more needs to be done in the housing space, but that doesn't mean the bill should be blocked.
The HAF is not going to solve the housing problem. I think everyone knows that. What I'm hearing here in the ACT, at least from people working on the front line from community housing providers, is that there are projects that are ready to go, that they are keen to get building, and that's what we need. I think there is scope to pass the HAF and to continue to have this fight with the government, to continue to push them. We've now got the CFMEU proposing ways that the government can actually spend more on something that Australians want more money spent on, social and affordable housing. So this issue isn't going away, but I do know that there are community housing providers who are keen to start spending some of that money.